There's a... Hello, Senator.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've had a great career.
All right, you may be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of colors by Watson Chapel Junior ROTC program and remain standing for the national anthem, Pledge of Allegiance, and invocation given by Dr. Reverend T.R. Ramey. Order, arms. Colors, post.
Customers, march. Color hop, post. Present, arms. Ready, 1. Ready, 2. Ready, 3. Ready, 4. Order, arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
If you'll follow me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Ramey.
Right, face. Forward, march.
Would you bow with me, please? Eternal and almighty God, eternal Spirit, the God of providence, the God of creation, and the God of grace, and the God of redemption. We bow just now, O God, thanking you for the beauty of this day. Thank you, O God, for the privilege of assembling here in a free country as free men. We read in your word, wherein you tell us to give honor to those for whom honor is due. And we pause to thank you for Thomas Vaughn, who epitomizes what it is to be a true American, a man committed to his Christ, a man committed to his church, a man committed to his community, a man committed to his county, a man committed to his country. We pray your blessings upon him. Thank you for allowing us to be witnesses of this great momentous occasion. We pray, O God, for Senator Bozeman and all elected officials. May we, O God, continue to strive to be all we can be in this country and for your glory and your cause. Through Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Dr. Alexander and the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, welcome to the tribute to Thomas Vaughns, a Tuskegee Airman and distinguished veteran of World War II and the Korean conflict. Dr. Calvin Johnson, Chancellor Emeritus, will now preside over the ceremony. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chancellor Alexander, Dr. Bozeman, Reverend Ramey, Brother Vaughn, and to all of his Brother Vaughn's distinguished friends and associates, church members, it is my pleasure to serve as your Master of Ceremony this evening, this afternoon. And you know, I've been told that there are two major roles of a Master of Ceremony, Dr. Blakely. One is to make sure that the program is in order, and the other one is to make sure that it begins and ends on time. So if I seem to be rushed at times, it's because I'm honoring the request to end on time. But let me say how much we all appreciate you being here. You're a beautiful audience. I wish you could see yourselves from where I'm standing. It's beautiful. Just give yourselves a round of applause. We are just so honored to have a group of friends of Brother Vaughns in this university, consisting of church members, alumni, members and supporters of Mr. Vaughns here for this celebration. You couldn't imagine the joy of preparing for this, and there are a lot of people that I will, at some point in time, have a chance to just say thank you to for their commitment to get this done. But up front, I want to thank the Chancellor, Dr. Lawrence Alexander, for his support and the support of his staff and the people here on campus. That includes everybody from janitors on up, on down, maybe I should put it that way. We really appreciate that. The people seated on the podium, I think you might know who they are, but just let me briefly say who they are. Seated to my far right is Reverend Dr. T.R. Ramey, and he is the pastor of St. John Baptist Church in Mitchellville, Arkansas. Seated next to him is Senator Bozeman. Senator Bozeman is a senior senator from the state of Arkansas, and I would just ask that you would read some information about Senator Bozeman, because he's involved in a lot of things that mean quite a bit to the state of Arkansas. If you looked at some of the committees, the Veteran Affairs, Agriculture, and most of all, he's on the Appropriations Committee. Some of you know what I mean by that. But Senator, we're just happy that you could be with us this afternoon. And Mr. Vaughn, we're just so happy that you agreed to let us do this. We appreciate you, we love you, and you have a permanent place in the hearts of these people that you see sitting here in the audience. So let's give him another hand. Now, I think you might have, there was a couple of announcements. I know there was one about the telephones. That's you not to asking you to please honor the program by not letting your phone ring during the program. And also, after the program, time will be provided and an opportunity for photo ops over here. First, we will get pictures with the people on the dais here, and then others can go over and take a picture with Mr. Vaughn if you desire to do so. I'm sure Mr. Vaughn will agree to stay until everybody's gotten a picture that want to take one. And again, Senator Bozeman, on behalf of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, we appreciate all that you do and all that you're doing. Thank you for agreeing to be on this campus. And in summary, I would really like to just name a lot of the people and things that graduates of this institution that what they are doing. Time will not permit that, but I just want you to know that we have graduates all over this state of Arkansas, all over this nation, and in some foreign countries that's carrying on the work and the mission of this institution. So we thank you for taking part in this. I would also want you to know, and there are others here that would want you to know, being the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, formerly A&M College, and known by some as the flagship of the Delta. Right? You didn't get that. The flagship of the Delta. All right. So, with that said, we will move on with our program. Moving on into the welcome by Colonel Todd. Is that the occasion? I'm sorry. The occasion.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, Pine Bluff, what is the occasion, Mayor, that brings this industrial city to this location? What is the occasion, Chancellor, that brings a U.S. Senator to this learned institution? What is the occasion that brings state senators, state representatives, congressmen to this occasion? The occasion, Pastor Rainey, is a life of service. A life of service to country, a life of service to community, and a life of service to God. Mr. Vaughn, thank you, sir.
Next, we have on program a salute to Thomas Franklin Vaughn from Lieutenant General Andre Piggy, Chief of Staff. And what we would like to do is to ask the members here to come down here and take a seat so you can see the screens.
Senator Bozeman, Chancellor Alexander, and distinguished guests, I'm honored to take part in the celebration today as we acknowledge the significant accomplishments, selfless service, and distinguished career of a national treasure, Mr. Thomas Vaughns. Mr. Vaughns represents the very best of Arkansas and the very best of our great nation. Mr. Vaughns enlisted in the Army when he was only a high school senior and was selected to be part of the legendary Tuskegee Airmen. They are some of the finest service members our nation has ever produced. Mr. Vaughns' job was to make sure that their planes were in the highest state of readiness and fully operational to execute their dangerous missions over Germany and throughout all of Europe during World War II. He performed these tasks in an exceptional manner. After the war, Mr. Vaughn did as my father also did. He returned to Arkansas to attend the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. He graduated in 1950, 1 year before my father. After graduating, he was called back to service for the Korean War. He later served at my second home, Fort Hood, Texas, ensuring our soldiers were capable of executing their combat mission by providing sustainment and life support. Mr. Vaughns provided his unit with the best ammunition, tanks, guns, and other supplies available at the time. A few days from now, we will celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Red Ball Express, another distinguished organization supporting U.S. forces during World War II. A member of that unit was my father. He also said that the Tuskegee Airmen and the Red Ball Express drivers contributed as much to winning the war as any other unit. He was proud of his service his entire life, as I know you are as well. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn, for your exceptional leadership, your extraordinary sacrifice, and your sterling example for us to follow. Congratulations. We are so very proud of you. You are Army strong and a soldier for life. May God continue to bless you in these United States of America.
While we're preparing for the next activity, just let me note that I'm sure you noticed that Mr. Vaughn is getting around without the aid of any walking canes or anything like that. And matter of fact, I think sometimes he gets a little offended when we offer to help him. But he's doing great. He's doing great. When we were planning for this, I assured them that Mr. Vaughn didn't need any special accommodation. He navigate the stairs at church every Sunday morning, and the first one up the stairs and the first one down. So, Mr. Vaughn, we appreciate you in all respects. All right, next on the program, before we do that, let's give another round of applause to General Peavy. When we contacted him, he really wanted to be here, but his assignment wouldn't allow him to be here. So he did the next best thing. So we really, really appreciate that. So next on the program, we will have presentations of medals by Senator John Bozeman, United States Senator.
Well, it's a real honor to be on this platform with the Chancellor. I told the pastor that we could go home now. He'd said it all. We really do appreciate you guys so very much. And then, Colonel Todd, who's one of my heroes. Nobody works any harder for veterans. Did a great job in the military. And then the General. And I've had the opportunity of working with him in Washington on many occasions. I'm so proud of him. He is an Arkansas guy through and through. And you look at him and he's got all those stars. He's a general's general. So he really is very special. So I'm not happy to be here. I'm honored to be here. And this really is a great tribute. You know, when you go around Washington, I spend part of my time in Arkansas, part of my time in Washington, D.C. When you go around, you'll see these statues all over the place. And what they used to do back in the old days, they would take and they would build a schoolhouse, and then they would build a statue with a playground, a park. And the idea was that the kids would go play in the park, and then they would see somebody that needed to be emulated, somebody that needed to be admired. And if I were king around here, in the state of Arkansas or wherever, I'd put a little park and we'd put your statue there because you're exactly the type of person that I would want my children to wind up like. We all know about his great career in the military, going off at a young age, serving his country, willing to do whatever he was asked to do, and did that very well. Came home, and then, like the greatest generation, rebuilt the country, coming out of the Depression, and got involved teaching others, being a great mentor to so many. So he was a hero in every sense of the word. We tend to do that with the military aspect. But as our pastor said, he was a hero not because of his military service, that's part of it. He was a hero because of the way he lived his life. He loved his family, he loved his church, put the Lord first. Somebody was telling me that he was in his Sunday school class earlier as we were greeting out here, and that he knew his Bible, which is the most important thing. Loved his family, and loved his country. So that's really what it's all about. So we would like to present him with his medals. I'm going to run down and grab them and bring them up, and then Kathy's going to tell us about the significance of each one, okay? Yeah, I reached down to help him. I'm up here as the program. I'm trying to pump him as to what he's been doing all these years so I can follow. I reached down to start to grab to help him up, and he was trying to help me up.
In addition to obtaining the medals, Senator Bozeman and our staff also had the honor of interviewing Mr. Vaughns for the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. So his oral history will be found for future generations in the Library of Congress as well. Thomas Franklin's Vaughns is who we're honoring today. And if it is customary, if you're able, to rise during the presentation of medals. Thomas Franklin's Vaughns was drafted into the Army Air Corps in 1942. He was a mechanic for the Tuskegee Airmen, honorably discharged in 1946. He was recalled to service during the Korean conflict and served as a supply sergeant at Fort Hood, Texas. He was honorably discharged 1 year after. The medals he is being presented today, the Good Conduct Army Medal is the first. It recognizes exemplary conduct, efficiency, and fidelity during 3 years of active enlisted service with the U.S. Army or 1 year during wartime. The Army Campaign Medal, World War II, given to service members performing either 1 year of consecutive duty between December 7th, 1941 to March 2nd, 1946, within the continental borders of the United States, or performing 30 days consecutive or non-consecutive duty outside the borders of the United States within the American Theater of Operations. The World War II Victory Medal. The front of this medal depicts the Liberty figure resting her foot on a war god's helmet with the hilt of a broken sword in her right hand and the broken blade in her left hand. The reverse contains the words, "Freedom from fear and want, freedom of speech and religion, and United States of America, 1941 to 1945. It is awarded for service in the U.S. Armed Forces between 1941 and 1946. And the National Defense Service Medal. It is awarded for honorable active military service as a member of the armed forces. In addition, we also have an honorable service lapel button. It's awarded to United States military service members who were discharged under honorable conditions during World War II. That was
You may be seated. Thank you, Senator. Thank you. The next presentation will be by Is Jason McGee present?
Good afternoon. All right. I have the distinct honor and pleasure to present, on behalf of United States Congressman Bruce Westerman, a congressional record that was entered into the official law recognizing the distinguished Thomas F. Vaughns. The congressional record reads, House of Representatives honoring Sergeant First Class Thomas F. Vaughns and the Tuskegee Airmen, Honorable Bruce Westerman of Arkansas and the House of Representatives. Madam Speaker, I rise today to recognize Sergeant First Class Thomas F. Vaughns, a Tuskegee Airman, a World War II and Korean War veteran. On August 21st, 2019, Sergeant First Class Vaughns will be recognized for his service and commitment to the United States. Sergeant First Class Vaughns of Whitehall and resident of the 4th District of Arkansas began his service during World War II at Camp Robinson, North Little Rock. After basic combat training in California, he reported to several locations around the country, where he worked as a mechanic on B-25 bombers. He eventually ended up at the air base in Tuskegee, Alabama, where he helped ensure B-25s were operational and safe for training. At the end of the war, he completed high school in St. Louis and then returned to Arkansas, where he attended Arkansas Agricultural, Mechanical, and Normal, AMNN, now the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, UAPB. He graduated in 1950 just in time to be called up again for service during the Korean War. In 1951, Sergeant First Class Vaughns served as a supply sergeant at Fort Hood, Texas. After his military service, he worked several different positions, but ended his career as a horticultural specialist at UAPB. The Tuskegee Airmen were a highly trained and specialized group of America's first African-American pilots and ground crews for the U.S. Army Air Corps, and eventually the Army Air Force. Their impressive performance during wartime earned them more than 150 distinguished flying crosses. The unit attained a distinguished reputation for their ability to safely escort American bombers into enemy territory, resulting in the fewest losses in the 15th Air Force during the war. I am honored to recognize Sergeant First Class Thomas F. Vaughn and the Tuskegee Airmen for the rich history of service and bravery. I thank each and every one of them for protecting the freedoms of this country and the hope their legacy continues for generations to come. Madam Speaker, I yield back. Mr. Vaughns, will you join me? On behalf of Congressman Westerman, I'd like to present you with this congressional record that has been entered into public law. And we thank you for your service, sir.
Jason, did you grow up in there? Thank you, Jason. Next, we will have this presentation by Senator Stephanie Flowers. Will you be joining her? Yeah, and Vivian Flowers.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Vaughns. It gave me much pleasure a few weeks ago, I think may have been last month, when I read in the local newspaper about your history as a United States service member. I was very proud that I knew you, that I had been knowing you, and to read all those things about you, it was just a real delight. I kept that, and I'm gonna keep it, because it tells a story of how you persevered, how you made so many sacrifices, despite indignities offered you because of the color of your skin, you still persevered. And I'm thankful to you, Mr. Vaughns. It gives me great pleasure to be your senator too, so come on up here. I'm not gonna read it. I know we're time limited, but this is a Senate citation from the Arkansas State Senate. It's signed by the Senator, President Pro Tem of the Senate, Jim Hendren, and myself, and it just repeats a lot of the things that you are now famous for. Thank you. And I think you got another one, so you better stand right on up here. Thank you.
Mr. Vaughns, I just wanted to say one thing. Hearing about and reading your history has been incredibly moving. And I couldn't help but think, as I sat in that chair, that the armed forces was not integrated until 1948, 2 years after you were discharged following your service during World War II. And we hear a whole lot about how thankful we are for the service of our veterans, and we are. We also hear a whole lot about bravery, and we hear a whole lot about patriotism. But I want to tell you, standing here, that you are the ultimate patriot and the ultimate hero, because you served when, even by law and by practice, many said that you couldn't and you shouldn't. There was discrimination on every level of society, and you served despite that and with valor. And so for that, I thank you and can't tell you how proud I am also to call you my hero. I'll say that. And I just thank you so much. I am here also to present this citation, which is signed by the Speaker. And also, your state representative could not be here, Ken Bragg. Mm-hmm. He is out of the country, but that's to my benefit. And it's also signed by me, so thank you very much.
Mr. Vaughns, he'll take one. He'll hold one for you down here, so you won't be loaded up with all these songs.
They want to get a picture.
I thought they were going to do pictures later.
Yeah, but they want to get this one too.
Okay. Do you want to hold them, Mr. Vaughn?
Get on the other side.
Okay.
Thank you, Senator Flowers and Representative Flowers. Next, we will have from the City of Pine Bluff, Mayor Shirley Washington.
Good evening. I stand before you on behalf of the citizens of the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, our very esteemed city council members, and from the office of the mayor. It's truly an honor to stand before you today on such a program honoring such an esteemed, legendary man with the status of that of Mr. Thomas Franklin Vaughn. And Mr. Vaughn, we know that when you finished your serving in the armed forces and decided to settle down in these United States, you could have chosen to settle in any community in the nation. But we are so happy that you chose to make your home Pine Bluff, Arkansas. We challenge every citizen in the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas to learn at least 2 lessons from the life of Thomas Franklin Vaughn. And I would like for them to look upon these 2 lessons as nuggets. These are 2 solid gold nuggets that should be deposited in the lives of every citizen of this community, because he's shown us some very important things that we should all live by. One is life is about serving others without expecting anything in return. That's what Mr. Thomas Franklin Vaughn has done for us. That's nugget number 1. Nugget number 2 is our communities are strongest when we honor our civic duty to be involved. We've all read his life story, and we've seen the level of involvement that he demonstrated at every phase of his life. Let's give him another round of applause. So, Mr. Vaughn, if you will join me at the podium right now. It is my pleasure to present this to you as I now, therefore, the mayor of the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Shirley M. Washington, do hereby declare this day, August 21st, 2019, as the Thomas Franklin Vaughn Day in the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And I encourage all citizens to join me as we honor Thomas Franklin Vaughn. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Thank you, Mayor Washington. Next, we will have a presentation from Barricade Street Church. That will be Selma Jackson and Truda Reedus.
Mr. Vaughn, would you come stand with us, please? And Dr. Johnson, do you mind if I ask the Barricade Street members? And at this time, I'd like to ask all Barricade Street church members if you would please stand. Mr. Vaughn, because you are our hero, Barricade Street Missionary Baptist Church, we are so pleased to present to you this frame press plate. We hope that you will hang it on your wall, and when we come and visit, we'll just sit and share memories about all of these things. We thank you so much, and you are truly, truly Barricade Street's hero. And we love you. Amen. Now, come over here.
Thank you all, Ms. Jackson and Ms. Reedus. Next, we will have the Chancellor of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, Dr. Lawrence Alexander.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for getting it right. Good afternoon, everyone. I am indeed honored as well to be on this program. This is a great day, and I am just honored to be in your presence and on the program. I have a couple of things to do here, and one is, we're going to ask you to come forward. One is it is a tribute from the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, your alma mater, and it is presented on behalf of the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of our university, a tribute to a Tuskegee Airman, a tribute to a great alumnus of our university, and a tribute to a member of the fraternity. Alpha Phi Alpha. Congratulations. Okay. And I'm going to ask the brothers of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity to stand. Stay there. There's more. Also, it is my great pleasure to present to you today the legend of the UAPB Golden Lion, because that is what you exemplify in all that you have done and all you continue to do for us in this community. You have the legend of the Golden Lion. It is my great pleasure to present this to you today. I think I was supposed to read the legend. Let me read it. It says, in the fall of 1928, President John Brown Watson assembled the student body to select a school mascot. One young lady suggested the owl because it was the wisest bird. Another student, Raymond D.D. Johnson, put forth the lion, for he is the king of the jungle animals. By a voice vote of the student body, the Golden Lion was chosen as the school's mascot. This majestic golden lion is presented to Thomas Franklin Vaughns on the occasion of the presentation of military medals by U.S. Senator John Bozeman for outstanding service as a Tuskegee Airman and distinguished veteran, August 21st, 2019. University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, Dr. Lawrence B. Alexander, Chancellor.
Thank you, Chancellor. Next, we will have responses from, yeah, get ready, Ms. Vaughn. The person that you all been waiting to hear from, Mr. Thomas Franklin. And you know, Ms. Vaughn, you've been hiding that F in your name. I had to call and ask him, what is the F for? All right, but thank you. But now we will hear from Deacon Emeritus and a man of many other things, Mr. Thomas F. Vaughns.
If you ever decide to put on a program, call Calvin Johnson and Vacuum Street Church. It's so good to be here. This is just like a reunion to me. Now, I have a lot of kids scattered all over the country. I used to tell my wife that. She said, be careful about that. I want all of the 4-H club members to stand at this time. They were my kids. They come from different places. One came from, I believe, Columbus, Missouri here today. And so they've been scattered all over. And so I'm delighted to be here today. And all of these honors, I don't know whether I deserve these things or not. But anyway, I'm enjoying it. And through life, I had an opportunity to serve so many people, and I enjoyed doing it. One thing after I retired, I joined Vista, a volunteer agency. Then after that, the Delta Service Corps. It wasn't for money. They only gave me expenses. But I enjoyed that just as well as I did jobs that paid money. I served in Mississippi, Louisiana, Illinois, teaching and training young people. And I enjoyed every bit of it. And so I'm here today because of the respect you have for me. And it's so gratifying that you've done this just for me and my family. And so I'm delighted that you're here. And so let's see if there's one other group that might be here today.
Your family.
My unit, yeah. I thought it was something where my family stand. That's my little sister on the front there. She'll be celebrating her 97th birthday in October. I know she really loved me. You know, I was stubborn when I was coming up. You know, I would get whippings, and when you cry, you're supposed to stop whipping you. And I wouldn't cry, and she'd run up there and grab me around the way and look me in the face and say, "Cry, brother." So I want to thank the committee and all of you that planned this activity, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Vaughn. Just before the Chancellor comes, I would like to take just a few minutes to recognize some groups that I didn't recognize earlier, and it is important that I do that. First, I want to thank the Chancellor and his staff for helping us with this occasion. Thank you, Chancellor. We also want to recognize and thank the junior ROTC programs that are available. And then we had some university cadets here. Is that? Okay, we move on. Then we have Colonel Moya that I want to really thank for his help. He, it's Kevin Moya, he showed up early this morning, and everything began to fall in place. I think it was his organizational skills, and along with all the help we had, but he knew some things that we didn't know, and he got those things put in place, and he has volunteered to do everything that he could do to make this possible. So, Chancellor, we appreciate that. All right. We also want to thank Colonel Todd. Colonel Todd, I know you're a busy person. I've seen you around in several television stations, newspapers, and doing all the good work, but we appreciate most of all what you're doing for the veterans in the state of Arkansas. And thank you for being here. I want you to know ever since day one when we start talking about this, Colonel Todd was said, what can we do to make it happen? So then we got busy, and today this is the results of your help and your commitment to this cause, and we thank you. And then I want to thank the members of Brother Vaughns Church, because they are all great supporters, and so is Mr. Vaughn. So let's give his church members a round of applause. And again, we thank the family for lending Mr. Vaughn to us. We've had him, and Mr. Vaughn, I heard you tell the age of your sister, but you didn't tell your age. And I think we need to get the record straight. So do you want to do it, or you want me to do it?
I'm going to let you do it.
Mr. Vaughn is 99 years old. Now, Mr. Vaughn, if I can get around as half as well as you are when I get 99, I will be happy. So thank you, and thank you for keeping on doing what you're doing. So next, we have comments from remarks from our Chancellor, and that is Dr. Lawrence B. Alexander.
Let the church say amen. Amen, amen again. Amen, amen again. Amen. If you're happy and you know it, say amen. Amen. Yes, indeed. This has been truly a joyous occasion, and it is a great privilege to be here to honor a great, great man and a great citizen. We'd like to express our appreciation to everyone for coming out today and for joining us for this great event, and as we salute and pay tribute to our distinguished alumnus and Tuskegee Airman, Mr. Thomas F. Vaughns. His military contributions and outstanding service to our country is commendable and worthy of being celebrated. Thank you again for your service to our university, our community, our state, and our country. It is an absolute honor to salute you. I salute as well all of the members of the military, and I'm going to ask in my closing remarks, any members of the military who are here, would you stand at this time? Thank you. Thank you for your attendance today. Thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you for your service to this country. We hope that you all have enjoyed this program as much as we have. We're so pleased and delighted to have had our senator, the senior senator in the state of Arkansas, Senator Bozeman, back on campus with us. Thank you, Senator. Thank you. Thank you for all you do for our state and for our university. Thank you, Senator Bozeman. Thank you so much for your presentation to Mr. Vaughns. We also want to recognize and express our appreciation to Jason McGee, who's representing Congressman Bruce Westerman, U.S. Representative from our congressional district. Thank you, Mr. McGee. And we'd also like to thank Pine Bluff Mayor Shirley Washington for your presence and your appearance on our program, Senator Stephanie Flowers, Representative Vivian Flowers, of all of you for being with us today and participating on our program. You all played a significant role in making this event even more special. We also would like to recognize any other officials elected officials who are here. You can stand. There you got some. Oh, yes.
I'm Tricia Herring. I'm in Senator Cotton's office.
Wonderful.
We'll be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Representing Senator Cotton's office. Thank you. And we have a council member. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brother Councilman. And we, last but not least, we'd like to recognize and show our appreciation to the committee and team who worked so hard to put this program together and put together our program participants and everyone who worked behind the scenes to ensure this program a success. You know, we say thank you to the committee sometimes, but I'd like that committee who worked diligently to put on this program to stand and take a bow themselves. Everyone who worked on this committee, would you stand? Thank you, thank you. Thank you for your service on this committee and for making this event really special. Hasn't this been good? Yes, indeed, yes. So I congratulate you on putting together a great program. This has truly been a great day, and thank you once again for your attendance here today.
Thank you, Chancellor. Just before we do the retiring of the colors, there's one of Mr. Vaughns' 4-H Club students in the audience, and I dare leave here without introducing her, and that's my wife, Ms. Verby Johnson. Next, we will have the retiring of the colors. Maya.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the retiring of the colors.
Mark. Color guard. Halt. Right. Face. Pose.
Present. Arms.
Ready. 1. Ready. 2. Ready. 3.
Order. Arms.
Left. Face. Forward. Mark.
Please be seated. Thank you for attending today's ceremony. Please join us for a reception in the hall out behind us. Pictures will be completed to my left, your right. That concludes today's ceremony.
I don't understand.
This concludes today's ceremony.